Everything seems calm until it doesn't. It starts small. A bit of bad news, a delay, a misunderstanding. But before you can catch your breath, the spiral has begun. Opportunities dissolve, relationships tighten, doubts expand. You can almost hear it in the silence around you. Something is pressing in. Something wants to stop you. It doesn't happen during the lazy days of distraction. It never visits during the months of wandering. It always arrives at the edge, just before the crossing, just before the moment everything is supposed to change. People call it resistance. Others call it misfortune. Some don't call it anything. They just disappear into it. But for those who've walked through it and lived to tell the story, the pattern is unmistakable. A dark rhythm that seems to recognize momentum. And the moment you step towards something real, it responds. Not with a warning or interference. It pushes through people, circumstances, even your own mind. It rearranges the familiar into something volatile. Everything that once felt possible suddenly feels impossible. Strength turns into fatigue. Confidence crumbles into hesitation. Silence becomes louder than speech. This is the territory no one maps out. The unseen battlefield right before the breakthrough. Because most people never make it that far. Most give up when the ground begins to shake, assuming they've made a mistake. But they didn't make a mistake. They got too close. And that's the real danger. Because closeness to change doesn't feel like clarity. It feels like chaos. The greatest threat doesn't come at the beginning of the journey. It doesn't even come in the middle. It arrives at the door, the final hour before the shift, when the false self feels its last grip slipping, when the systems that profited off your fear start losing control, when the illusions that kept you small begin to fracture. The resistance isn't random. It's precise. It's timed. It knows the threshold. It understands patterns better than you think. Because it's been here longer. It watched you fall into the same loops for years. It whispered the same lies through different voices. It knows exactly which string to pull, and it waits until it matters. Not because you're weak, because you're waking up. When the inner walls start crumbling, the enemy scrambles to preserve what's left. It doesn't need to defeat you, it just needs to distract you. Long enough for the fire in you to burn out. Long enough for you to question the journey. Long enough for you to trade transformation for comfort. That's the secret. The attack isn't meant to destroy. It's meant to delay. And delay is just a slower kind of death. The strange thing is, it never looks like a battle. It looks like normal life. The message that never arrives. The friend who turns cold. The plan that falls apart without explanation. The sudden fatigue that has no medical reason. It all seems like coincidence, until you realize coincidence has a pattern, and patterns don't lie. The resistance is ancient. It has no name, yet it speaks through thousands of faces. It doesn't knock. It slips in, through fear, through doubt, through silence, through the weight of 1,000 tiny discouragements. It slips into your daily life, until everything starts to feel too heavy to handle. But what it never expects is that you see it now. It didn't expect you to notice the timing, the sudden pressure after weeks of progress, the fog that rolled in right after you made a decision to move forward. It didn't expect you to trace the clues backward and realize the truth. You are being hunted because you are close. Not to success in the way the world describes it, not to material comfort or applause, but to clarity, to purpose, to the version of yourself that doesn't bend to fear anymore. And that version threatens everything built on your compliance. The enemy doesn't fight noise. It fights signal. It fights purity. It fights alignment. Because alignment is the death of manipulation. A person who sees clearly can't be easily controlled. The most dangerous moment in any transformation is the one just before it completes, when you've already let go of what was, but haven't yet touched what will be. That in-between place where the ground feels unstable, the air feels thinner, and the voice of old habits grows louder, because they know they're being evicted, and dying things scream the loudest. The attack feels like the end, but it's a beginning dressed in chaos. It strips away the illusion that life will hand you peace without resistance. It exposes the lie that change should feel comfortable. It shows you what the breakthrough actually costs. And the price is everything that was never real. You start losing the fake friendships, the shallow desires, the stories you used to tell yourself just to get through the day, the layers you built to feel safe, the old roles you played to be accepted. One by one, they fall away, and it feels like a loss. But it's exposure, and exposure always precedes rebirth. The ones who survive this moment aren't stronger, they're quieter. They don't flinch when the lights go out. They don't run when the ground cracks open. They stay, they feel everything, and they refuse to leave without the truth. Because once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it. You realize the pain isn't personal, it's mechanical, it's part of the system, a last-ditch effort from the old world you're stepping out of. It tries to convince you that the storm is your fault, but it's not your fault, it's your signal. The shaking means you're near the gate. The weight means the old world is collapsing behind you. The silence means your former voice no longer fits. The enemy attacks before the breakthrough, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. Because your alignment threatens the machinery of comfort. Because your healing unravels the map others still follow. Because your fire exposes everything built on shadows. And shadows don't go quietly. They scream. They beg you to turn back. But you don't. You keep walking through the fog, through the fire, through the silence. Because you've tasted something that can't be untasted. You've heard a voice beneath the noise that can't be unheard. And once that voice awakens, nothing else satisfies. That's why the enemy fights. Because it's losing you. And when it loses you, it loses access to everything that came through you. The people you would have inspired, the stories you would have told, the lives you would have touched, the healing you would have passed on. The attack is never just about you. It's about everyone who comes after you. Breakthrough is never personal, it's generational, and the enemy knows that. So it fights not just to stop you, but to stop what you carry. But it's too late now. You've seen too much. You've been broken and lived. You've been lost and found something real. You've been burned and still chosen to shine. You are no longer afraid of darkness because you've realized you are not made of light alone. You are made of fire. And fire doesn't fear shadows. It consumes them. So the next time the resistance comes, the silence, the fatigue, the confusion, you won't see it as a sign to stop. You'll see it as confirmation that you're walking the exact path you were meant to walk, that the breakthrough isn't far away. It's right here, just on the other side of the storm, and you are already in it. Keep walking. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. As always, wishing you a beautiful day.